It'll be a packed-out Stadium of Light for their first game of the season. It's Sunderland at home, looking to put 3 points up against Ipswich Town, of course. Fantastic in League One last year. Let's get the thoughts of their boss, Tony Mowbray, and also Patrick Roberts, both talking to Jonathan O.
Joe Bellingham and Lewis Amir both make their debuts. What are you hoping for from them?
Well, goals, creativity, hard work. It's not ideal, you know. Ross Stewart and Bradley Dack somewhere down the line looks pretty talented as well, of course, and that at some stage will come together as well.
How do you build on last season? Where can you improve even more?
I think obviously last year everyone didn't really expect what we kind of do. First season back in the Championship, and we're playing against a team obviously in the same predicament. So we know it's going to be a tough game, but you know we've got to keep doing the same way we've been playing the last year and a half, and you know, play the Sunderland way, and I'm sure we can do that there tonight.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to it. I mean, a special game, you know, Ipswich Town. I've had Marcus Stewart in my office there for a quarter of an hour with his wife, and reminiscing about some good days at Ipswich together. And yeah, the stadium will be bouncing today. Hopefully it's a really good football match. I think it will be. I think Kieran's obviously a really talented coach, a modern coach, and his team express themselves and play. And that's what we've been trying to do over last season, coming up from League One. And yeah, I'm sure it'll be two good teams, and hopefully there's some goals and a lot of entertainment.
Tony Mowbray knows all about Ipswich Town, of course, and he's hoping for entertainment today, as we all are, given it's the third of our triple header. Two very good games so far. The final one coming from the Stadium of Light. So, playoff semi-finalists last season, Kev. Does that mean the bar's now raised? Should we expect them to be there come the end of the season again?
I think you have to, because the size of the football club and what they achieved last season. You know, they've done a magnificent job, and Tony did a great job, and for rumours for him to lose his job at the end of the season were ludicrous. So I'm delighted he's there. I think recruitment-wise, yes, they let some players go. They've suffered injuries. You know, in the playoffs they had so many injuries. Again, it struck them again this pre-season with the signings. So you know, his hand's been forced to play the young kid Semedo up front today. It was a little bit of a surprise. I think Pritchard not starting the first home game of the season with his experience, his qualities, a slight surprise, but it just shows Tony's not afraid to put young players in, because you saw what happened last year. I think Diallo's a huge miss for Sunderland. Can someone fill his boots? Bellingham, we all know, is a fantastic young player, but it's a different proposition playing in front of 40,000 than it is at St Andrews. So I'll be interested to see how those two fare this afternoon. But in the wings, you've got Roberts and Clark, who were outstanding last season. You know, Jack Clark, most assists in the league. You know, he's chipping in with goals, linked with a £10 million move as well. So has his head been turned a little bit? I hope not. But they've got players that can really hurt you. So I think it's going to be a fantastic game this afternoon.
They've gone young again with recruitment, of course, bringing in even more younger players, Sunderland. It was already a youthful side. There's Chris Rigg on the bench, who's 16 as well. Sometimes, sometimes by design, sometimes by default, with regards to the players that are available. Is that the next test then for the step up of these players, working under expectation?
No, definitely, and I think it's a fantastic manager to work under as well. I have to say what Kev says, you know, when there was these injuries, these young players were put in and they delivered. You know, they performed well, they coped with that pressure, that expectation, because they'd overachieved last season. I can't shy away from it that they were excellent. I think you look at if you want to criticise them, I think 30 points collected at the Stadium of Light, it has to be better when they've collected 39 points away from home, so they have to improve on that. But I think it was only Burnley, Middlesbrough, Sheffield United that scored more goals than Sunderland last season. So again, they're ticking those boxes as well. They are a real threat.
A big part of that, of course, was Amad Diallo and how good he was. Up front for Sunderland, really did grow into his position as the talisman of the Black Cats. Let's just turn our attentions back to Ipswich though. I mean, it is a 550-mile round trip, so let's give them their due turning up at the Stadium of Light. And they look delighted to have gone that far on this Sunday afternoon, don't they? But it's in a game such as this, Kevin, given the atmosphere, as you said about the Stadium of Light, is an element of nothing to lose to test themselves back at this level, because that's been a few seasons, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that was one of the biggest things that, you know, Sunderland come undone when they were in League One, because it was players' cup finals to go and play in, you know, 40,000 seat stadium, 40,000 fans there. This is a fixture that's, you know, I've played in many times in this fixture, and it's one that the Ipswich fans, especially the older generation, have been used to. But the younger generation,
for a long time, wasn't it?
And you know, it's for now for them to be back. I wouldn't say it's a free hit because they'll go expecting to get something today, that's for sure. But you know, just go there. You know, the pressure's on Sunderland. They'll be probably favourites to win the game today, and just go and enjoy it. Just go and do what you did last season. Forget about what's going on around you. We all know that cliche: play the game, not the occasion. Once that whistle starts, can Ipswich keep the crowd quiet? That's the biggest thing, as we all know, going away from home. If you can keep that crowd quiet and get an early goal, it becomes a different proposition. But I think, you know, they were the top goal scorers in the country last year. Sunderland scored a hell of a lot of goals next season. But clearly, it's going to be 0-0 today.
Don't jinx it.
No, there's going to be lots of goals.
And well, I mean, these players as well have watched all the games and the results coming over the course of the weekend, Chris. Now's their time to shine.
Yeah, they'll be itching to get started. You know, I think both had very good pre-seasons, got the minutes in the legs as well, so it's just about going out there and basically showcasing what you're about. You know, I think express yourself. Both managers try and kind of relax the players, but they're brave enough, be composed enough to, whatever scenario the game throws at you, do what you know you can do.
Certainly the atmosphere is building. The soundtrack is very fitting, of course, for these two heavyweights going head-to-head right here in the Sky Bet Championship. Your commentary team for this one up in the northeast is Don Goodman at first. A very good afternoon, Daniel Mann.
Good afternoon, David. Good afternoon, one and all. Well, I like to think we've saved the very best till last. There is that tingle in the air that comes with a new season. And it is a meeting of two clubs for whom optimism abounds at the outset of the new campaign. Well, a common refrain in Suffolk in the build-up to the new campaign is, can we do a Sunderland? Can we, on promotion from the third tier, climb into that top six and experience at least the potential of a rise to elite status once again? Expectation high for Ipswich, expectation has risen for Sunderland. Can both live up to it in the next 10 months? Well, Sunderland go with the same 11 that turned out in last week's friendly with Real Mallorca here last week, where they performed well. They're happy to have numbers back in defence, having been so light at the end of last season. Dan Ballard, a happy return from injury. In youth, they trust 17-year-old Joe Bellingham, 19-year-old Lewis Emir. They make their debuts. The striker playing his first senior game in Ross Stewart's absence, and in lieu of the lack of other new blood in that position, though it is not for the want of trying. Well, no great surprises in the Ipswich 11, with #1 goalkeeper Christian Walton missing for months rather than weeks with a foot injury, and Harry Clark suspended. George Hurst signed permanently in the summer after a successful loan, so in a way a debut for him. Nathan Broadhead returns to the club. He ably served in their promotion year of 2022. Connor Chaplin, 29 goals, completes the attack. The formation fluid, in fact I'm loath really to put a number on it. A 4-2-3-1 base in many ways, with Donatian stepping across to right back at times and Davis back the way. But often, if it goes well for Ipswich, the wing backs will end up more advanced than anybody else. New signings Hutchinson, Taylor and goalkeeper Slicker among the substitutes. And Ipswich, if they play well, will test this man, but he's proved himself capable of handling almost any test in his time as Sunderland's #1.
Yeah, very much so. It's an area that they want to improve defensively, but not much of that was down to him. Look, lots and lots of saves, high quality, and Sunderland really have done well to keep him at the football club. I'm sure there are Premier League scouts looking at him.
And a Premier League goalkeeper in to add competition in Nathan Bishop from Manchester United. Well, often last season for Ipswich, it was Burns' night. Wes Burns, a shining light in that wide position.
Yeah, well, you look at the numbers there. I mean, phenomenal for a wing-back. They've got two of them. They've got Leif Davis on the other side. But that's going to be a fascinating battle, isn't it? Wes Burns coming up against Jack Clark. Who will get in the ascendancy? It'll be interesting to see.
Well, Plymouth managed to set even higher standards than Ipswich, and that's saying something last season in League One. They've got to do things better, they've got to do things quicker, in his words. They come up against a man who has an unbreakable bond with Ipswich Town Football Club in Tony Mowbray. Indeed, while he was playing there, he met his wife. Many of his extended family hail from Ipswich. He's regularly updated on the goings-on there, and this match has a particularly special resonance for him. And it could well be, if all the ingredients come together, and I hope this is not the kiss of death, a particularly special watch. Two teams who feel they have a chance of being there when it comes to the final shake-up. Both full of belief after excellent seasons. Both back, at the very least, the level they will accept, with aspirations to go further. This is Patrick Roberts, briefly a Norwich player, which will add a bit of grist to the mill.
It's fascinating, isn't it? This time last year we were here for Sunderland's opener after their promotion. They played Coventry City, and it was a question of, can their players, not many of whom had played at championship level, do they belong there? And I think they proved on that afternoon, actually, that they did. They played a very good Coventry City team, and they were more than a match, and what followed was spectacular, really. I think this is different for Ipswich. They come up as one of the best ever teams, probably, that League One has seen. There is a higher expectation than there was on Sunderland last year. Let's see if they can do it.
Is that quite a player doing his growing up in public, as so many of the Sunderland squad have had to do. Played through some mistakes, some difficult times, and really looking to excel at the heart of that midfield. Given away though by Hladky, and picked up by Clark, faced by Gonassien, who concedes a foul.
It's a bit of a sloppy free kick to give away. Start with the goalkeeper. Hladky gives the ball away needlessly. They know that Sunderland are going to be pressing, they're going to be stepping on. It's too much of a risk so early in this game. Got a free kick to defend now.
He usually very assured on the ball. Sunderland not recently that strong from set pieces, but Dan Ballard there could be a crucial figure.
Again, you look at the areas that they need to improve. This home form, goals conceded, certainly goals scored from set pieces. A very important source.
Ballard trying to get there at their near post. It's away though by Morsey, not the delivery they would have hoped for. Neil. Bellingham. Turned on by Trey Hume, but too big an ask. And sweeping up was Cameron Burgess. Now it's Hurst battling.
Ekwa right on the edge of physical impeding, I would suggest there.
There are slightly different approaches from officials this season, even more so than last year, and possibly might have been a free kick last season, I don't know. Yeah, Hladky finding touch. It's a slightly nervy start from the Ipswich goalkeeper.
Well, he's round on the cover, isn't he? As he often is, but he leans in and he leans in, and it's borderline, isn't it?
Bellingham. Morsey there. And whatever Morsey did is deemed acceptable by the referee. Sam Barrett in charge, not a referee with vast experience at this level.
It's quite funny, isn't it? Sunderland fans booing. Well, they weren't booing when Ekwa was leaning into George Hurst. But there is a higher threshold this season. Referees are going to allow a fraction more physicality.
And more than a fraction more time, as we'll see.
Oh yes, and rightly so, by the way. I think professional players in 2023 have just got so good at running the clock down.
Well, rather than putting an arbitrary figure on a goal or a substitution, they're now actually going to allow the time it took.
It seems ridiculous that it didn't happen in the first place, doesn't it, really?
It's not the most novel concept, if you ask me. Here's 09. Wonderful character, real spikiness about him on a football field. Huge competitive edge. Now Clark. He's Skills have attracted many admirers both here and elsewhere, but they haven't attracted a sufficient fee to tempt Sunderland into selling. Here's Clark. Up against Burns and beyond him. And Gladkey sprawling. And Ipswich hearts aflutter. And given away, it's Roberts. Beautifully done for Bellingham. And Burgess there. And Ipswich feeling the heat at the moment.
Yeah, I doubt very much. There were very many spells of pressure as sustained as this that Ipswich had to face in the whole of last season. But this is where Clark against Burns, as I say, that is going to be a fascinating battle. And at the moment, Wes Burns is having to defend. Really prefer to be attacking. Lovely skill from Patrick Roberts.
Samir does provide plenty of presence. Beyond everybody in the end. Score from a set piece against Mallorca last week. A week of contrasts in the final week of Sunderland's pre-season. A good performance against the top half side in La Liga last season here, and then, in Tony Mowbray's words, battered on a wet and windy night in Hartlepool. Which was an outing for what you might less than politely term the second string. Nico 9 handling the pressure. And handling the ball well, which often gives him the edge in terms of selection. Trey Hume on the receiving end there. Now here's Roberts. Leif Davis back to try and shackle him, and he got a foot in, but then concedes a foul.
He just attracts players to him, doesn't he, Patrick Roberts? At one point, I think there's 4 around him. Doesn't care. He's comfortable in his own ability in tight areas. And this is a demonstration of the reason why. Brilliant. I think there's a discussion about a potential yellow card there. I think that's what Patrick Roberts is asking the referee. Shirt pulling.
Just giving the referee a full post-mortem on what happened. Oh, the agony of choice here. It's going to be Clark to take it.
It's 3 set pieces now, all poor quality. Has to be better. What a job he did this season. Remarkable, really. League One playoff winners normally scrapping to survive. Coming in under difficult circumstances. Alex Neil left for Stoke. Didn't get the pre-season with a young group. He really moulded them superbly well.
More of a test for Anthony Patterson than he would have hoped. Clark. On the outside of Donatian and not succeeding as he hoped or believed, forcing a corner. Well, the first nigh on 9 minutes have emphasised that for all the high standards they produce week in, week out, this a totally different challenge.
We saw it on Friday night, didn't we? Sheffield Wednesday against Southampton. We saw it. Massive difference in the levels. That's why I think some people's eyebrows have been raised that Ipswich are amongst the favourites for promotion, but they were so good last season. They've been tested in the opening 10 minutes here, and Sam Morse is a very lucky boy. Ran down a cul-de-sac. Nowhere to go. Could he draw a foul? Yes, he could. But they're on the back foot here. They are not used to numbers like that over a 10-minute spell. They're not seeing the ball. They completely dominated the ball against League One opposition, and he's going to want them to look after it better.
high-ish boot there by Wolfenden on Bellingham, who did not complain. This is Wolfenden. Semir putting himself about to good effect. Neil, nothing outside him. Well, certainly not in good enough time. It's Neil's strike, which certainly was deflected. And another wave of Sunderland pressure.
Well, brilliant work from Lewis Amir, isn't it? Actually winning the ball back. Starts the attack. They do really well. He's battling, wins the battle with Wolfenden and picks the right pass. Ultimately leads to an attempt at goal. The consolation of a corner.
Semir taking up station on the back post. Won't reach him though. And if set pieces aren't your strong suit in terms of what you've got height-wise in the area, the delivery has to be spot on. And it's been quite a way short of that, given the number of opportunities they've had.
I think Tony Mowbray will be so pleased with the start this young team have made, but side of that, the quality of the set pieces so far has been really poor. To be better.
First getting involved, that's Broadhead. Who's going to come out on top here? It's Bellingham. Hurst duelling. Those strikers that Sunderland did have a look at way back, but was out of their budget range. Another Sunderland free kick.
They're just not used to this, Ipswich. It's maybe an accidental clipping of heels. They are under pressure, and he's barely ventured out of his own half, has he? Wes Burns, and that tells you Ipswich are on the back foot here.
Ballard, Hume, very much in that vogue position as a fullback in the centre circle.
Guardiola's got a lot to answer for, isn't he? Quite genius, isn't it, actually, as a tactic. There's a lot of clubs employing it now.
It's another ingredient to flavour the dish, isn't it? Get an extra body in midfield. This is 09, showing a sense of adventure. Trey Hume filling in. Up to Neil. Roberts, who's a veteran in this side at 26. On for Neil. Burgess sweeping up. Broadhead way back there. This is Massimo Luongo. And the decision goes the way of Sunderland.
As I say, this start to this game is simply not what Ipswich Town, this group of players, this coach, have been used to. They are really on the back foot, barely laying a glove on Sunderland.
It's away by Wolfenden. 09. Davis after that. Extra fired up if that was needed today, Leif Davis. The Geordie, graduate of the famous Wallsend Boys Club, and as someone put it to me earlier, no lover of Sunderland.
It's the political correct version, isn't it?
Here's Neil.
Davis has this matter in hand. Seen his former club at Leeds produce an excellent comeback. All's well that ends well, but he's in trouble there. Put into a difficult situation. This is Roberts, but Davis getting Ipswich out of that difficult situation. He hasn't started a league game in well over a year. December 2021 indeed, against Wycombe Wanderers.
The only thing you would say, for all Sunderland's dominance, they haven't tested him yet, have they? They haven't put him under real pressure.
Broadhead. Ipswich fans urging him to take it on. Oh, Davis arriving late! And what an escape in the end. 0-9 in the nick of time for Sunderland.
Well, do you know what? It looked to me as if this shot was going wide, but Luke O'Nien couldn't really get out of the way of it. And how on earth this hasn't found the back of the net is quite miraculous, really. Leif Davis must have thought, big opportunity. Is it on target? It's the only thing I would question. Either way, it's a brilliant clearance from O'Nien, because that was flying at him.
Gave Davis the opportunity to put that left foot into great use from the corner. Morsey back in there, and a chance for Burns! And Patterson able to get there at the second attempt, and suddenly, almost out of nowhere, the alarm bell is absolutely clanging for Sunderland.
Yeah, 15 minutes of dominance they've had, and yet the first shots of the game have gone Ipswich's way. Two really decent chances, particularly the first one from Leif Davis.
Davis has stolen it. Oh, it looked offside, Hurst, indeed he was.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been, should he? He should really have been aware of where the defenders were, because he was all on his own here. George Hurst. He steps in here. Oh, it's very, very tight as well. Sunderland may well just have got away with one, although it didn't actually result in much of a chance.
Well, Leif Davis heavily involved in those good attacking moments that Ipswich have just enjoyed. Lewis is Bellingham. Lovely flash of skill. Clark might fall for Bellingham again, and Clark.
Arguably Sunderland's best situation, really. Bellingham, brilliant. I've been really impressed with his opening 18 minutes. Young Joe Bellingham, what a pass that is. Jack Clark just can't pick a teammate out. There's 5 of them to choose from, but it was brilliant from Bellingham.
He can be a little hard on himself when things don't go right. Apparently Tony Mowbray saying, don't worry about that, just keep doing what you're doing. Sirkin had a swing at it. Bellingham. Ekwa. Clark's didn't stay onside.
Oh, chances all of a sudden. This was the big one, Leif Davis. I thought it was going wide. May well have been maybe striking the outside of the post or going, but Luke O'Nien's not to know that. Deals with it brilliantly. Heck of a clearance, to be fair.
Firmly in OG potential territory, aren't we there? But O'Nien has to sort his feet out, and Leif Davis will be kicking himself that it wasn't on the target, really. Roberts. Good combination here. Roberts was fouled, the referee giving it a beat and then giving nothing.
Tony Mowbray down below is not happy. Fourth official getting an ear bashing. That was a foul.
My initial instinct was the referee was allowing an advantage there.
Well, there wasn't one. He would have brought it back. I don't think he gave a foul.
Well, all I'm saying is it looked like a foul to me.
Yeah, and me.
Ultimately it will be a burning issue, but a very intriguing opening quarter of the game. Sunderland really enjoying, to use a time-worn phrase, the lion's share of it, but Ipswich with the greater threat levels.
That's excellent from Luongo, setting them off, just overrun it, but you can see there total domination in large parts of this game. No shots on target for Hladky to have to deal with.
Clark. Sirkin making run outside him, but here's Ekwa. Left foot is his favoured one. Oh, does not gobble it up, and that's a big let-off for Ipswich Town.
Oh, he's got all the time in the world, Joe Bellingham. He can control this and then put it into the empty net, but he's not really aware of the time that he's got. It's a super strike from Ekwa. You can see Sunderland players, they're all on side, but that is one that might haunt him if Sunderland don't take some points out of this game. 9 times out of 10 he finds the back of the net. As I said, it came quick and so had time to take a touch.
A 9 into the thick of the battle, but out of position now. And they're looking to exploit that through Burns, and Hurst who fluffed his lines. It'll come back. Here's Chaplin. Burns. 0-9 away. Samir, can he keep hold? Ekwa.
They've bared their teeth, and they've created 1 or 2 little openings. Ipswich really shown why they scored all those goals at League One level. So although the flow of this game has been towards their goal, in terms of goal-scoring chances, they're given as good as they're getting, if not better.
Going to enjoy watching him this season, as are we.
Well, apart from the miss, he's had a brilliant start to his Sunderland career here, and if he keeps that level of performance, well, he'll be playing week in, week out. I know Tony Mowbray has said he may rotate the likes of Bellingham, but he's been excellent so far.
So he's got the thought that he might drop him into the 2 in behind where Neil and Ekwa are operating today. Bradley Dack to conjure with as a number 10. A rare, experienced signing here at Sunderland, which I know Tony and his staff are very keen to get done.
They may have had to say pretty please for that one.
Yes, very possibly. Well, he's got about 11 years on most of Sunderland's summer signings. Waiting in the wings today, along with Corey Evans there, not yet able to be involved in the matchday squad. It's Hume. There you go, you see, Hume is an example of a young player who really did blossom given the opportunity in the Championship last year, and an example of why Sunderland are pursuing the philosophy they're pursuing. One thing they haven't done yet and Sunderland fans are not like beckoning this moment on. He's made a big sale from those players that they've honed.
But it will be a matter of time, really, because that's the way this sustainability of running this football club has to be now. So it will be a matter of time, but they've got an awful lot of saleable assets within their ranks, which is more than could be said for some of the clubs.
It's the building block that they hope will erect a mighty edifice, much in the manner of Brentford or Brighton. Lively. Sunderland stealing it back sharply. Eklar urged to shoot again. Opts for a different option. Didn't quite come off Emir. Emir looking to feed Bellingham.
Neil. Roberts.
In the end, just achieved his ambition.
Just not keeping the ball when they win it back, Ipswich. He's applauding his team because he knows they've been under the cosh here, but I'm sure he'd want them to have a little bit more composure when they get the ball back.
Well, part of their pre-season plans, knowing there will be games, there will be days like this when they enjoy less of the ball, was a double header against crack German opposition, as we used to say many years ago. Played Leipzig and Werder Bremen in the Innsbruck Cup. Trophy Ipswich won, somewhat unexpectedly. But against very strong sides, performed with great credit. 1-1 draw against Werder Bremen, victory over Leipzig.
It's nothing like the real thing, let me tell you, from experience. He's played against Real Madrid in a pre-season friendly. That was a bit like the real thing, to be fair. Just the 5 it was, I think.
What, for you or for
Oh no, I got to sample Hugo Sanchez's somersaults in the flesh, to be fair. 3 times actually. Anyway, swiftly on.
I'd like to see all 6'4" of Lewis Emir turn a somersault. He's got quite the hit on him with his right foot. Lots of skill. He got a bit lost in the crowd at Benfica.
It's easy done, isn't it? Over there.
And welcome for some of the Sunderland substitutes warming up. Broadhead. A familiar face in these parts. Excellent contribution in the promotion season when Sunderland came up to the Championship. I know something they certainly considered pursuing on a permanent basis. No doubts about his ability in front of goal, particularly at League One level, but maybe. This may seem a harsh criticism, maybe not as durable as he might be. It's possibly the feeling.
Anybody wants to know how this game's going, these numbers show you some of Ipswich's most creative players are not seeing the football, and I think that just confirms what we've been seeing.
Neil.
And for Ipswich that has to change, but for Sunderland they have to take advantage of this dominance and turn it into real good goal-scoring opportunities. Just the one so far from Joe Bellingham. This is just no more than a half a chance, but he'll want to be hitting the target from there. Just pulls the shot a little bit, you can see that there.
Waiting for that one last bit. So often elusive.
I think it's 15 times in a row they've scored here, isn't it? They normally find a way.
There's Sirkin going a long way. Morsey. Challenge from Bellingham. Burns, well.
Well, he hasn't really had a sighter, has he? Normally, constant stream of creativity. Largely on the back foot.
Cardiff lad, Wes Burns, Welsh speaker. This is Jack Clark. Roberts wants it over here. And he'll get his wish. Hume. Neil. Put in by Morsey. Luongo. Spent nearly the first half of last season at Middlesbrough. Felled in frustration by Hume. And we have the first card. Not greeted with great acclaim.
It's just cynical, isn't it? Really, he's nowhere near the ball, lunges in, brings the man down. Look at the referee's position. He's got the clearest view, and it is a yellow card. At least the benchmark has been set.
For a moment they'd found a way through there, Ipswich, but tenacious work by Ekwa. Davis. Hume, who was a bit harsh to say makeshift, but a centre-back in the business end last season in the playoff semi-finals. Sirkin losing out here to Wes Burns, but not for long. Cameron Burgess. Davis, I suppose, inevitably had made a burst for him down this left flank. He'll receive it now and turn it on to Broadhead. Chaplin barely had a look in. Dan Ballard. Davis. This is Wolfenden. Donacio. Chaplin. Burns, and maybe a chance for Broadhead here. And Chaplin! Well, it got a deflection, and that maybe saved Sunderland.
Yeah, they have looked a threat on the rare occasions when they've been in Sunderland's final third. And it's beautifully worked, isn't it? Wes Burns, that's what I was talking about, him spending time further forward. Great awareness from Broadhead. And Chaplin's strike just takes a nick on its way. Just wonder how decisive that may be.
Well, Dan Ballard was the Sunderland player in the way, and Sunderland certainly grateful for that. Morsey. A variation on the theme, but Hume will get it away. Ipswich adept at scoring just about every type of goal you care to mention, but that set piece did not work as intended. This is Lewis Emir, and now Clark. Ipswich have got 8 back outfield players, and there is another card. The line has been crossed, and it's Wes Burns who goes into the notebook.
Again, just has a lunge. He's nowhere near the ball. Ball's long gone.
Roberts putting a bit of air on it so Ballard can attack it. This is Jack Clark. He's got help from 09. And it's help he'll now use. That's useful. Humour's in there, might fall to him. And chaos reigning for a moment in the Ipswich 6-yard area. Clark going at them again. Bogdanasian got his feet sorted out and was able to see it out.
Yeah, good defending. A little bit of pinball in that 6-yard box. Fantastic delivery from 09. Not decisively cleared, but enough bodies back there to get the blocking on Trey Hume. One end or another, I just sense that there is a goal coming, really.
We've talked at length on the programme today about Ipswich's goal-scoring feats, but Sunderland right up there in the Championship last season, 4th top scorers. And as Tony Mowbray will no doubt remind you, they were without their main striking threat for the majority of the campaign.
I'm talking about attacking numbers, look at those. I mean, they are exceptional. As good as it gets, almost. See, there have been 3 or 4 occasions in the first half, despite not having the ball, despite not having the territory, that this team have highlighted why they scored so many goals last season.
On another day, they could easily be well in front. Noteworthy incident. He's not burdened by Ipswich's great moments in history. He does have a framed print of Bobby Robson cradling the UEFA Cup outside his office. I know sometimes coaches will go in and not necessarily be wanted to be reminded of what's gone before.
Nothing wrong at all remembering the glory days, I don't think.
As much as anything, it's the values that were instilled, and Tony Mowbray himself was talking about that in his time at Ipswich. Wes Burns will be beaten to that by Anthony Patterson. Bobby Robson, an FA Cup, a UEFA Cup, a couple of near misses as far as the league title was concerned. Beat Real Madrid and Barcelona at home, among others, in Europe. Sunderland, for their part, 6 times champions of England, but I doubt you'll find anyone here who remembers the last one in 1936. Here's Clark, seeking to make things happen in the present day, and it's the umpteenth Sunderland corner of the day.
Well, he has carried on where he left off last season, hasn't he? Every time he gets the ball, he looks to be positive, looks to make something happen, looks to drive forward, looks to commit defenders. Outstanding to have in your team.
Ekwah taking up an interesting position on the edge. Plenty of fun and games in the middle, but a delivery there was meat and drink to Luke Wolfender. Sirkin. Ekwah. Bellingham. Bellingham again. Oh, Donatian taking a risk. But the referee saw it differently.
I think he's penalised Jack Clarke for handball here because he's nudged and he falls on the ball. I think that is what's going through Sam Barrett, the referee's mind here. You think he's beyond Donatian, he goes down easily, and I think the referee's spot on here. From what I can see, it's the kind of contact that is allowed. That is handball, so well done, referee. It's a great spot. Not that the natives agree.
Yes, I think we're going to struggle to find anyone in our immediate vicinity who doesn't think that's a penalty, but there you are. But the threshold, we've talked of contact with consequence for a long time now, and the threshold is even higher this season. And certainly I think in the cold light of day, even those around us in great numbers will agree. Header by Luongo, Hurst, Broadhead. There's been something of a pillar in that midfield area. It's been very difficult to get the better of him. Here's Bellingham now to Roberts. Confidence really high. Neil. Donatian concedes the corner in the end.
It's a rare mistake. He's had a strong first half defensively. Donatian. Would have been tight on the offside stakes, but it's not something VAR would check either for a corner.
It's probably the more defensively adept than Dominic Ball is his chief rival for that position. Clearly it's Kieran McKenna's view, otherwise he wouldn't have picked him.
Well, he's an athlete, isn't he?
Ballard coming in, it's Burgess away. Falls very kindly here for Clarke. Shrug off Morsey, and certainly there were a few icy glances from Ipswich defenders towards the assistant referee, who felt certainly that there was an offside.
He's berating his defenders for something here. Just gets his pocket picked. He can't outrun Jack Clarke, and then there's a little pull.
In that midfield area, you've got two real strong characters and competitors for Ipswich Town. For all the easy on the eye stuff, provide them with a little bit of edge.
Absolutely.
We've started the weekly guessing game now, or daily in some respects, as to just how much added time there will be. Do Sunderland have time? Pierre Equa. Broadhead made that his. Not much in the way of support for Hurst and Broadhead here. Davis is arriving at quite a rate. Now Morsey. Wes Burns. 4 in the area for Ipswich. 9 stooping and conquering as we head into a minimum of 2 added minutes at the end of the first half.
There haven't been many stoppages, has there?
So it's a game that's flowed by the nature of the two teams.
Absolutely.
towels these days to assist the throw-in takers, which should ensure the game flows even further. That was Neil's header. Davis to strike, and he kept it down and in! Well, Broadhead not in a mood to celebrate at the home of his former club. I think his touch was decisive. And Ipswich Town, who've lived on a diet of scraps in this first half, have the lead.
Yeah, well, I said when they go into Sunderland's final third, they are offering a goals threat. Nathan Broadhead, I mean, you couldn't write it, could you really? You knew inevitably you'd get a chance to score. He hasn't been booed, so he's showing the respect back to the Sunderland fans. But from a defensive point of view, it's a mess, a real mess. You know, strike there, really that powerful, that decisive, but credit Nathan Broadhead. Gets himself in between the sticks and diverts it. Patterson committed left, faintest touch, finds the back of the net. It's actually quite a cute little flick. Good little finish from Broadhead.
Well, life in the Championship may well turn out to be very much their liking. Nathan Broadhead. Classic bit of poaching, really.
It's just that long throw into the penalty area, a couple of lost headers, and all of a sudden the ball's in the back of the net. I mean, it's just have to be better than that.
Well, it's the law of the X, isn't it? They so often come back to haunt their old clubs, and a dyed-in-the-wool Geordie playing his part as well in Leif Davis. And the Suffolk sound being heard on Wearside. Neil. Bit of extra time on top for the goal, and it's aftermath. And it's a classic and oft-told story, a team enjoying plentiful possession without really creating the golden chance, although they did have one. Bellingham, a man on a mission there to thwart George Hurst. So much positive for Sunderland, but they've given it away here, and the Wongo can try and make something of it. Morsey. The curtain falls at half-time. Sunderland with plenty to be positive about, but the breakthrough comes for Ipswich in a fleeting moment in which they have looked dangerous. Leif Davis's shot deflected in by Nathan Broadhead on his return to the Stadium of Light. Joe Bellingham on his Sunderland debut, cursing a glaring miss. At the interval, it is Sunderland 0, Ipswich Town, the newly promoted side, 1.
A goal up, but they did have other chances as well. Leif Davis getting further forward, looking and thinking that he'd turned it off the line. It was actually looking like it was going wide, a very close call indeed. But perhaps a reflection, Chris, on even though we saw Sunderland dominate possession in the first half, they do cause Sunderland problems at times, don't they, over the course of that first 45 minutes?
Yeah, they do. I think they've got energy in the team, they've got legs in the team, they've got bodies breaking into the box at the right time, and there's quality when they do get in those wide areas, quality coming in. Leif Davis here taking a shot. I think Anine has to make some sort of contact. He has no idea it's going wide, but they are a threat. They've had probably the better chances even against the run of play.
Would you say as well, Ken, from Sunderland's point of view, they've done to Ipswich what Ipswich did to more teams often than not over the course of last season in League One?
Yeah, I think from Ipswich's point of view, it's a tricky one, isn't it? What do you do second half? You 1-0, but from Sunderland's point of view, they're going to have a lot of possession again. I just feel they let themselves down in the final third. I would be looking personally to try and get Pritchard on the pitch at some point. That little bit of quality in the final third, he can certainly unlock defences. It's going to be backs to the walls for Ipswich for much of this second half. Can Sunderland break them down? They've certainly got the quality to do it. Can Ipswich hold out?
Okay, let's find out on both of those points. Looks like Kieran McKenna's subbing himself on. Get off the pitch, man. We need to get going with this. Okay, back to Don Goodman and Daniel Mann.
Well, some final words for Wes Burns from the Ipswich Town head coach. You've turned a diet of scraps in possession terms to a hearty feast in terms of goal-scoring opportunities. Sunderland unable to replicate that level of cutting edge despite dominating the ball. So Sunderland will get down to business in the second half. I can only imagine, but I would think the message from Tony Mowbray was fairly simple.
Yeah, it's more of the same really, but maybe better decision making, a bit more ruthless in that final third. The Ekwar strike that Gladkey fumbled to Bellingham was the only shot on target. It was the only save that Gladkey had to make. That simply has to change if you're Sunderland.
Ipswich have the upper hand just between the two in league games, 23 to 22. Tony Mowbray adamant that crept out of play.
I think the referee's given it, hasn't he? He spotted that it was out. Assistant didn't quite spot it, and it looked well out. Should have gone to Specsavers. All of the opticians are available.
Well, Lee Madley was in the thick of it on the pitch at Hillsborough. He's getting a thick ear off it today. It's not my fault, I'm sure he'd be saying. Well, perhaps not for diplomatic reasons. Bellingham looking to get in there, but it's Burgess away.
It's been a quiet start, hasn't it? I know we're only 2 minutes in, but Sunderland really need to get on that front foot, get this crowd involved in this game. And they did well last season when they went behind. They didn't let their heads go down. Picked up an awful lot of points, as you can see there. It's an excellent record. They will keep going, and as I said, there's 15 straight home games in a row that they've scored here.
Bonfire night, wasn't it, against Cardiff City? Last time that the visiting side prevented Sunderland from scoring here. So Sunderland's task, first of all, is to turn the Stadium of Light murmur into something akin to a roar. And they might hear Lewis Emir with a chance. Great feet. And it's got away from him. And then he concedes a foul.
Yeah, frustration really, because when you lose a shooting opportunity as a striker, you just wish you could have it again, because he's just got to take this on. He tries to be a little bit clever, get a shot there. Once he cuts inside and has a couple of extra touches, you can see the blue shirts surrounding him. It's got to be maybe one touch here, there, and shoot. Might go through the defender's legs. At the very worst, you get a corner.
Well, there is the number one striker still looking on, and not likely to return to training until September, full training that is, and possibly be in contention for selection towards the end of that month. Semir doubtfully was even signed to be number 2 striker, never mind the number 1 at the start of the season.
Work in progress, lots of potential. Strong, powerful player.
Although by all accounts the amount of running he had to do in pre-season came as something of a shock.
Welcome to England.
And that was the gist of Tony Mowbray's message, yes. Terrific run in the UEFA Youth League, which Benfica won in 2022. Gets the ball in promising position on that right foot. There could well be fireworks.
On by Chaplin, Donassian in behind. There's Jack Clark carrying the fight for Sunderland.
But blue-shirted bodies in the way.
There's certainly more composure about Ipswich in possession at the start of this second half. 5 minutes in, they look more confident, more comfortable. Kieran McKenna's half-time team talk, really aided by the goal. There's more assurance about Ipswich at the start of the second half.
Aided by every time they've got into advanced areas, they've looked capable of scoring.
Ipswich fans you can hear, that's what I'm saying. This young Sunderland team need this home crowd involved here.
This is Clark. Sirkin. It's a useful cross which will need defending, although ultimately Davis didn't get there and Neil did.
Yeah, Dan Neil can somehow duck underneath this. Patrick Roberts is in behind him. It's excellent from Sirkin. Stands the ball up. And look at Patrick Roberts, a little bit frustrated. His teammate actually got his head on that.
It's quite the contrast to the final day, from final day last year to opening day this for Ipswich, isn't it? They played in front of 4,979 supporters at Fleetwood. They ultimately missed the opportunity to accrue 100 points from drawing 2-2, and here they are in a stadium that holds the best part of 10 times that figure.
This is what it's all about, playing in front of these big crowds in brilliant stadiums. It's what every young player dreams of.
Luongo. Was fouled by Ekwa. It's an opportunity for George Hurst, and he is clinical.
Well, there's a Suffolk roar. There's jubilation in one high corner of the Stadium of Light. And Kieran McKenna's charges are taking to championship life like ducks to water.
Well, they have that cutting edge and brilliant refereeing from Sam Barrett. Plays a brilliant advantage here. This is what we want from referees. Just give yourself a second. Could have given a foul there, but look at him wave play on. What a ball that is, by the way. He's off the shoulder, George Hurst, and he keeps his composure and he crashes it. Lots of pace on this strike. Yes, it's with the inside of the boot, but the power is excellent. But it's Luongo who's fouled, but Broadhead's pass is sublime. It's a wonderful finish, and it just enhances. We keep repeating it. It's the reason they scored 100 goals, over 100 last season.
Well, his first at the higher level, and Kieran McKenna closing in on his first victory at the higher level. And Sunderland, who at times seem to have a monopoly of possession in that first half, have an enormous amount of work to do now, and it could get worse for them. Oh, Chaplin has tried it, and he's so unlucky. Hurst. Oh, now Broadhead has a chance to shoot. Well, Hurst may well argue that he was fouled on the follow-up there. Kieran McKenna certainly will.
Yeah, he wants a penalty. He wants a penalty. Must have been close, but what an effort from Connor Chaplin.
Neil, great challenge, Luongo.
Kieran McKenna is still having a go. Bobby Madley, the fourth official.
Well, I've underlined the point that whether possession is at a premium or not, it's about how sharp that cutting edge is in the final third, and Ipswich has been razor sharp. Oh. Hemir in there, there's a flag up. Lewis Hemir looking to threaten again.
Yeah, he hasn't really had a sniff of goal, Lewis Hemir, but certainly what an effort this is. And Connor Chaplin spots the goalkeeper. Look at that. That is outstanding vision and almost perfect execution. But is that a penalty? Well, he gets none of the ball, Dan Ballard. And as Hurst is striking, Ballard comes in, doesn't get the ball, knocks him off balance. Referee's got a perfect view there, decides the contact's not enough, but let's put it this way, you've seen them given.
Well, the reason for the uproar you may have heard there was the amount of time Václav Hladký was taking over that free kick for offside, and because of the delay, he is yellow carded.
Well, there's going to be changes. Tony Mowbray's reacting to that second goal. There's a couple of subs down below us that will be coming on for Sunderland.
It's per many 5 from 9 these days in the Championship, adding 2 bodies to the bench. This is Wes Burns. There will be more opportunities for Ipswich, surely, as Sunderland chase it. It's Davis, it's Broadhead, who did well.
They just look so much more dangerous, don't they, in that final third. This team have come to the party. There's no doubt that pre-half-time goal has given them a massive boost. In the second half, they've been much the better team in every aspect.
So it's Barr and Pritchard who are going to be introduced. Bellingham possibly one of those to be replaced. He concedes the foul here. There's a yellow card here for Kieran McKenna.
Well, he's pointing. Kieran McKenna's pointing to the Sunderland penalty area. He clearly feels they should have had a penalty, and he's took his protestations just that little bit too far. He had a couple of warnings, didn't heed.
Sunderland are making the changes, and Barr on the right is Joe Bellingham with cause to rue his glaring first half miss, which could have wholly changed the picture. Lewis Hemir also withdrawn. So 2 teenagers off, and by Sunderland standards a real grizzled veteran here in Alex Pritchard, ancient at 30. And Abdullah Barr on as well, another of the young guns.
Looks like Jack Clark is going to play as a false 9. Pritchard in the 10 role, in behind him. Had to change something, Tony Mowbray.
Will that change reap benefit? Here's Chaplin. But Dennis Cirkin. Little local issues being addressed by the Ipswich fans, given that Norwich started with victory yesterday, and underlining the fact that they would go above them on goal difference as it stands.
I heard it.
Well, it'd be very nice to see a derby in, well, two, of course, derbies in East Anglia again this season. Just how closely competitive the two clubs will be in the final reckoning is going to be very interesting indeed.
They're only nice to see if you win them, aren't they? Those kind of games. Absolutely thrilled with the second half. His team more than a match for Sunderland, whereas they were in most categories dominated in that first half.
It's Broadhead's ball, and it's Burns. Every attack brimming with menace, and that deflecting off Dennis Cirkin.
Yeah, he's playing much further forward, or he's getting much further forward, because they're enjoying a better amount of territory. Keeps himself onside. Oh, Burns opts for the low, hard one. 16 corners they scored last season, Ipswich Town. Very impressive.
No small part thanks to this fella's left foot. Leif Davis with the delivery. That one comfortably dealt with, as is the mopping up job for Donacien. Oh. Not his best contribution of the day, putting Luongo in all kinds of difficulty. Or Morsey rather, who's booked.
Yeah. But stitched up by Donacien, wasn't he? Sold short. Just to make a challenge. It's a poor pass inside. Doesn't look.
Bar up against Burns. Be retrieved here possibly by Neil, but it's Luongo who comes out the winner. Ultimately couldn't steer away from his Sunderland counterpart. Roberts.
Really done a number on Sunderland in the second half. Crowd really quiet again. Can't emphasise enough how important when you've got a crowd this big, this passionate, you get them involved. At the moment there's an awful lot of groans around us.
Well, I can only imagine, but when things aren't going well, it can be a horrible place to play, as amazing as it also can be.
When you think back to last season, that home record, it was awful, wasn't it? They won 7 out of the 23 games last season at home. It really was poor. Didn't cost them a playoff spot. But they're going to have to do better than that this season. I feel this league this season brimming with more depth of quality, I think.
Well, no, it didn't cost them a playoff spot, but you have to wonder what it did cost.
Well, we'll never know.
This is Roberts. Trying to make things happen was in his individual skill. Pritchard knowing that he was offside. It's one of those moments where the decision was not the right one.
Yeah, it's a shame because he's got a wonderful left foot. Why is he not shooting? Patrick Roberts does brilliant work cutting inside. He's on that left foot now. Get it out your feet and have a strike. Pritchard knew he was well offside, hence the reason he left it. They need a goal. They need one quick. Take a shot.
As you say, lift the place. If he just goes close or forces a save, it changes the mood. Injects a little belief. Burns. There's the odd scramble and skirmish in that first half, but Hladky with only one save of note to make.
Yeah, and he looked nervous in possession. He gave the ball away a couple of times early on, and yet Sunderland didn't test him. Didn't find a way.
Well, that's a nasty bang for Wes Burns. The ball cannoning very unkindly for him. Can certainly be forgiven for being a little dazed and confused at the moment.
Well, hopefully he's not confused. Maybe a little dazed as it comes at him quickly. The referee has to stop the game for that. And it just gives Tony Mowbray a little opportunity. There's plenty of Sunderland players gathered around him. Just need something to happen fairly quickly, don't they? If they're going to get anything out of this game now. They played such good football in that first half, but without that real cutting edge.
A little mini cooling break there as we head towards the final quarter. I have to say, it doesn't feel like we're in the last fiery throes of summer here in Sunderland. Sunderland needing to awaken the dozing.
Well, this fella might be the one to make it happen, because he is a live wire.
Last pass cut out by Burgess. Ekwa. Pritchard. Morsey reading it. Chaplin. Burns absolutely flying forward on this near side. Hurst can't get the better of Ballard. It's a rather undistinguished spell, George Hurst, in the first half of last season at Blackburn. So 7 goals in all competitions. Very healthy return in the second half in the colours of Ipswich.
He just looks like one of those players who needed a permanent home, really. And now, we'd hope to see the best of him.
Bought from Leicester City at the start of this season. Davis is going to get his free kick here, to the bewilderment of more than a few.
He's a dynamic wing-back, isn't he? Drives at opponents. Does he get... Oh, it looks like Patrick Roberts may have got a bit of the ball here. That's what they're saying. Still bewildered, isn't he? I can understand why, based on what I've just seen.
Find its way to anger if Ipswich can make the most of this free kick, and they have the capabilities to do that. Broadhead might have a say. Davis usually likes one as well.
Yeah, my money's on him.
It will be Broadhead.
My money's on him next time, sorry.
Well, at least your mortgage wasn't. Didn't make quite an impact. First goal for the club was a free kick against Sheffield Wednesday. Nathan Broadhead. A not dissimilar position, if memory serves me rightly, which is debatable.
It's just that front foot energy's just gone out of Sunderland a little bit. That's why you can hear the frustration of the home fans. They've just got to find a way to get it back. This bit here, it's all a little bit slow. It's very comfortable for Ipswich. Need to inject some intensity into this game.
It's like a balloon's been popped. And no one can find a plaster or a pump. The second half so far, from Sunderland's point of view, has laboured as that analogy.
Well, it has gone from a game that looked so really uncomfortable for Ipswich Town until they scored, to one that now looks very comfortable. Sunderland really struggling to lay a glove on them. Lost their fluency, but he'll be delighted, Kieran McKenna. At this level, he'll know there will be times where his team have to weather a bit of a storm.
A little storm of protest there that Jack Clarke was penalised.
Prepared to take some risks, aren't they? But he does have hold of Wolfenden's harm.
That was Sirkin who rose. Bar. Ekwa. Betwixt and between. And tempts Davis, who is felled by Trey Hume, and that will be a booking. And there you go, his second booked in the 32nd minute. He walks in the 72nd, and with him may well walk any Sunderland hope.
Yeah, and the referee has little choice, does he, really? It's a brilliant burst of pace from Leif Davis. Trey Hume really struggling to keep with him. And whenever there's a coming together like that, you're always going to see a yellow card. As I said, really attacking, got the pace.
Well, whether the challenge was deemed worthy, kicking the ball away in frustration certainly could have been.
I'd love to know. I'm not sure he's kicking the ball, or he's kicking the ball against the board. It's coming back onto the pitch.
So Nathan Broadhead getting a very warm reception from the faithful here at the Stadium of Light, who watched him score with great regularity during their promotion season, replaced by Marcus Harness, and it was almost with a touch of the apologetic that he greeted the goal that opened the scoring.
They have 3 points in the palm of their hand here now, Ipswich Town. It's just about managing the rest of this game. They're usually pretty good at that.
Pritchard. His pocket was picked. Painful for the freshly introduced Marcus Harness. Sirkin. Bar in behind. How quickly are they going to join him? How well are Ipswich going to defend it, because they're not allowing him any latitude. Danasien dealing with it in exemplary fashion, as he has done most things today.
Yeah, they've defended well, that's the one thing you will say, even in the face of that pressure in the first half. restricted Sunderland really just to the one chance. Best defence in the league last season, and you can see why.
It's amazing to have the best attack, the best defence, and finish second in the division.
Yeah, incredible.
It's quite rare to have both, isn't it?
It just shows you how well Plymouth Argyle did.
It's in there by Pritchard. Sirkin is battling. Fresh Ipswich faces, including a debutant in Amari Hutchinson, who certainly is a player with a capacity to excite, lots of skill. He was praised by the great Pelé after he watched him play in a competition in South London a few years ago.
It's the complete front three that they've taken off, isn't it, really? And I think the lads that they've brought on highlights the depth that they've got at Ipswich Town, which is only going to stand them in good stead.
Freddie Ladapo replacing George Hurst. And off the bench, often very productive, more than anybody last season. Which will cause potentially further anxiety for those following Sunderland. Davis across, Sirkin sure-footed.
He's chipped that into an area where he should expect a teammate to be there, or his teammate should have been expecting him to chip it there, really.
Roberts carrying the fight all by himself. They tried to stop him in various ways.
I think there's a foul in there somewhere, and furious that it wasn't given. Maybe there was no advantage, so he should have been brought back.
Well, it was certainly my initial impression before seeing the replays that Patrick Roberts was a victim of a foul there. As it is, Sunderland do have a free kick in a not too dissimilar position anyway, so all's well that ends well, in that respect at least. Well, what they struggled to produce for so long has never been more necessary than now, a quality delivery.
Yeah, they got plenty of late goals last season.
Something different. Well, it might yet work out. Sirkin's shot deflected. And at least some momentum building for a beleaguered Sunderland.
Almost feels like the first time the crowd have got involved in the second half, doesn't it? Worked it really well. I'm not sure that was the idea off the training ground, but strike away.
And Roberts forces another one. And there's some fun and games. Ladapo and Ballard exchanging views. And a little bit more.
Two big lads grappling. There's always going to be that bit of physicality in there.
Sirkin going near. Harness wasn't beaten on that 6-yard edge. He didn't have to leap like a salmon to do it. This is Roberts again. Plenty of air on that one, and Hladky coming into traffic.
He's flattened his defender, who's down.
Donatian in difficulty, and while there's uproar at the game being stopped, and a yellow card too for some words out of turn. It is a scenario where no risks can be taken. It appears that Donatian has taken a right whack here.
Well, Hladky comes out and he does what you want a goalkeeper to do. He cleans literally everything in his path. He's taken out his defender. Obviously Sunderland were in a prominent position. That's where the frustration comes in, but referees have to stop the game for an incident like that. Player welfare, the single most important thing.
It's not just the welfare of the defender, it's also the welfare of the goalkeeper, who is not 100% after that. What is 100% is that Dan Ballard was booked. He'd just been brought over by the referee for a cautionary word, and he subsequently had a little too much to say for himself. Well, as much as Sunderland have had in possession terms, this is probably the moment that's caused him the most disquiet back there. To worry about the health of one of his most impressive performers today.
Yeah, he's been excellent. He's defended well, as have Ipswich as a collective, particularly in the second half. They've really held Sunderland at arm's length. And pretty much this afternoon or this evening displayed most all of the characteristics that we knew they had last year. The question about Ipswich was, could they bring it into this higher level? The answer has been yes. Sunderland are now going to probably reflect on that first half of dominance and rue it a little bit that they were unable to score. Well, as I say, goalkeeper comes, cleans literally everything out. I mean, that is a heavy coming together. Don't really know why the Sunderland fans are booing.
It's been a different way in terms of the domination they often enjoyed last season, and it's possibly going to have to be a way on more than the odd occasion this season. Ipswich are short-handed at the moment as they wait for Donatian to be approved for re-entry. Stoppage of around 3 minutes. Lyndon Gooch waiting to come on for Sunderland. They have a chance to exploit the man advantage here. Neil trying to get away from Burns.
There's a lot of frustration around these parts, both in the stands and on the pitch. I'm sure down on the bench. Yeah.
Well, they wanted to get Lyndon Gooch onto the field, and that's Tony Mowbray's vexing issue at the moment. He said to the assistant referee there, "What is going on?" Clark! Well, an Ipswich head, foot or body so often seems to be there, and it was Wolfenden's that time.
Yeah, it breaks nicely for Jack Clark. It's all very tight, but he picks himself up and finds a shooting opportunity, but Wolfenden in his way.
Pritchard's outswinger. Sirkin might have some joy in getting himself free here. It's beyond him. Ballard battling. Luongo with a deflected clearance. This is Roberts. Pritchard. Neil. Away by Burns.
It's been a frustrating element, hasn't it? Crossing opportunities, set pieces, wasted.
And this might be a bit more than frustrating for Sunderland. Amari Hutchinson streaking away with support from Morsey.
I think O'Nien has done really well there. He's delayed going across and closing him down, forced him out wider.
Demasian back on the field. Tony Mowbray still well, he's just kicked the bottles in the technical area. The bottle holder, I suppose we'll call it.
Holder, yeah. Saw Graham Taylor break his little toe doing that once, but we did win eventually.
Well, he was watching you. The new season, same old. This is Sirkin. And that's got pace on it! And Dan Neil able to take advantage of it. And suddenly the atmosphere changes.
Well, it's taken 40 minutes of the second half. But it's brilliant play from Dennis Sirkin. He drives, really attacks that dead ball line. He puts it into a great area, and Dan Neil anticipates it, gets himself into the air. That's a smart finish from a midfielder. Has to get a clean connection, and he does, and he keeps it down. No chance for Hladky, and game on with plenty of added time coming as well.
Well, very smartly done. Lyndon Gooch has finally got onto the field to replace Pierre Ekwa. And Tony Mowbray, heartened by the fact his team have got a goal back, but something of an angry man on the touchline. He's been booked for something he said.
Well, he's not normally like that either. He's so calm normally, and you've seen the frustration building up and brewing as the game has gone on.
Well, 3 points seemingly tucked in the back pocket for quite a while for Ipswich. At least two of them in serious danger now.
Well, it was Donasian, wasn't it, who's defended so well, who Dennis Sirkin skipped past, and you just wonder whether that collision had any impact on his defending there, or whether it's a bit of fatigue. I don't know, but one way or another, Sunderland are back in this game.
And one way or another, it was not a moment where, as he has so often today, he could stop what was coming. Caden Jackson and Dominic Ball waiting to come on for Ipswich. This is 09. This is Gooch.
Well, it's been a great response by Tony Mowbray's men since they've gone down to 10 men. Look, predominantly enjoyed more of the ball in Ipswich's penalty area more. Just makes you wonder where it was when they had 11. But all of a sudden the atmosphere in here is completely different.
Davis certainly feeling it.
Well, it really doesn't matter this season, because we know that the officials are going to add every last second on.
And it's 10 against 10 at the moment, because he's off the field. Ballard, 09, Barr, Sirkin in the penalty area, Clark right on the edge. Neil further back for any scraps. Ballard trying to get away from Ladapo. They've renewed their little feud. Barr was in there.
I'll tell you what, Freddie Ladapo has played a dangerous game there. Got the wrong side of Dan Ballard. There was a little bit of contact, maybe not quite enough. Look, he's got hold of him not once but twice, and in the end Sirkin can't get a meaningful header on this, but it's a dangerous way to defend.
Well, Ipswich taking quite a long time over that kick. Václav Hladký already in the book, and there is every prospect with a lengthy stoppage in this second half that we could be here for a good while yet.
Oh, the Sunderland fans are going to like the number. They really are.
Actually looks as though that bounced up into the arm of Ladapo, which has got plenty in the Stadium of Light rather vexed. There you go, sign of the times. 18 added minutes.
So that's why when an Ipswich player goes down, they don't have to worry, because that will all be added on this season, and rightly so.
Sirkin on the charge again, willing to go through every challenge. Forward by Burgess. Ipswich still waiting to get their substitutes on, but they've actually changed one of those. No longer will it be Dominic Ball, but Greg Lee is getting ready to come on, with Davis's situation very much in mind, no doubt. Ipswich very much in a back five at the moment. Here's Pritchard. And has he got his timing right? Lyndon Gooch, help arriving. Sirkin. Gooch ultimately doesn't succeed in... Well, he has succeeded in forcing the corner. There's certainly a debating point.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really look out to me, I've got to be honest with you, and the assistant is a long, long way away. And that ball doesn't all go out, I don't think. There's a bit of overhang.
So, somewhat controversial. And there will be partners in this year's Strictly, Dan Ballard and Freddie Ladapo. It comes out, Roberts to fire it in.
Oh, he does well to keep the ball down. Patrick Roberts, wasn't easy.
This is Gooch. That's a really threatening one. Wes Burns got a vital header to it. Morsey. A bit of Grace under fire there. Ipswich have changed their impending substitutes again. Dominic Ball is going to come on now. Caden Jackson no longer required. Another nervy moment. Sunderland's 10 men have got a new lease of life here.
Yeah, incredible.
Clark finding a way through to Sirkin.
Well, they keep going. We've told you, score late goals, score very, very late goals. Brilliant last season.
Roberts nearly in to threaten another, and Hladký holds on.
How long will he be allowed to hold on? That's the question. He's on a yellow card. He's got to get this right, the goalkeeper.
It's fair to say that Sam Barrett has a few thousand assistants to help him with that. Pritchard. Foul by Hutchinson. Neil. Well, I usually say at this time it doesn't matter what they do with the substitutes because they're not going to get on, but we've still got 9 minutes to go. Been waiting almost that long.
Yeah.
Gooch. Longo to bring it away. So, after a long wait, the changes come and Leif Davis is to be withdrawn. And he will be replaced by Greg Lee. Left-sided defender replaced by another. And in similar vein, Danasian, right-sided defender, being replaced by a right-sided defender, Dominic Ball. Here's Greg Lee, a Manchester City product. Well, still hoping that the 10-hour round trip will be lifted by the fact that they'll be able to toast victory on the way home. Clark. And Sirkin might get there, and he got it across again.
Well, Dan Ballard is playing up front now, and he's just a natural striker. May have gambled a little earlier.
It's an extra ball on the pitch, which, because it's not immediately within the vicinity, it's not a problem, but it soon might be because it's in the penalty area. I know we've got multi-ball now, but that's taking it to ridiculous lengths. This is Clark.
Well, they've had a right go, haven't they? The 10 men of Sunderland, and they've lifted the crowd.
Well, the urgent scamper of Gooch, the quickly taken corner, and it still may pay dividends. It's Pritchard. Oh, and taken out of Ballard's road right at the last. He was poised, he was ready, but he was denied the opportunity to administer the killer blow.
Well, whatever happens here, I think Kieran McKenna's team are going to learn a valuable lesson. They're doing it all wrong at the moment. Got an extra man, and yet they're not controlling any kind of this game with the ball, and they are more than capable.
Ballard battling again. Sirkin, Barr, Clark. Morsey typically tigerish. And how many advantages has he been given there? And on to Ladapo, and Ipswich with a clear chance. Dominic Ball is up. Can Ladapo finish it? Or will they live to regret that?
Well, if they do not get 3 points here, he's in big trouble, I would say. He has to look to his right. He simply has to look at Ball. He's free. He's absolutely free. He's got to find a way of getting that ball across, and he doesn't. He's got the blinkers on.
Luongo making it his. Just a little more to Kieran McKenna's tastes. Shrugging off Barr's challenge. Harness.
At least that's a little bit better. The last minute or so from Ipswich. They've got the ball up the Sunderland end of the pitch. And that will allow him to breathe a little easier. Because they've got the players out there to really cause Sunderland problems.
Well, Niall Huggins about to come on for Sunderland. A tortuous time with injuries. Some fun and games. Ladapo looking more than mildly astonished. Dennis Sirkin withdrawn. Crucial part, if it is to be a fruitful Sunderland comeback. We did have a 3-minute stoppage for injury to Donatien of Ipswich, but this very much the way it's going to be this season. We'll see 100 minutes up on the board on a pretty regular basis. Stoppages being counted more exactly rather than to just an arbitrary figure. This is Gooch. Well, he's dug it out. Barr's coming in. Telling touch by Ball. Clark. Wes Burns. Pritchard. And still they batter away. Away by Burgess this time. Barr. 09, Pritchard. Neil, the Sunderland goal scorer. Roberts. Up to Hutchinson here. He's got to shake off Huggins, but he can certainly get a hold of the ball and carry it up the pitch. This is Dominic Ball, Morsey. Luongo now to Greg Lee. And the Sunderland belief beginning to fade. And that's reflected by the trickle towards the exits. It's going to be game of regrets, isn't it, when they reflect. Sunderland so good in that first half, couldn't capitalise. Pritchard. Over Ballard's head, away by Lee. Ladapo. Harness. Ballard. Scampering to retrieve, and effectively it's Clark. He's out of the equation here though, Pritchard. Hasn't really got a lot to hit with a cross. Huggins to play it in there. Oh, against the post by Neil! I think it's a save, you know. Well, it looks like Latke earned his money. He's down again. And the goalkeeper receiving the grateful congratulations of his teammates. What a brilliant delivery and a great strike from Dan Neil, and it hits his left foot, spreads himself, Latke, and that has just gained probably his team 2 points. Cannons off the post. More frustration for Tony Mowbray. Oh, Latke, who had a nervous start, has produced an heroic end, standing in for the injured Christian Walton, who was #1 in their promotion campaign. And that might see Ipswich through. Now, we have had a couple of changes in this lengthy but soon to be customary added time spell.
more heave, perhaps, for Sunderland. But no more. After 4 years away, it is the happiest return to the Championship for Ipswich Town. A game that for so long underlined that for all the possession you may have, it is cutting edge that counts. Ipswich had it in creating chances in the first half. The law of the egg supplying. Former Sunderland man Nathan Broadhead diverting home the opening goal of the game. George Hurst with a clinical finish to make it 2. Sunderland reduced to 10 men when Trey Hume was sent off for a second yellow card, and that seemed to give Sunderland a new lease of life, and they gave that lot behind the goal a really nervous time. Dennis Serkin's inspired intervention creating a goal for Dan Neil, which seemed to sow the seeds of a memorable comeback. But Ipswich, in the end, although they didn't manage the game anywhere near as well as they would have wished, suddenly found themselves able to get up the pitch a little more often and give themselves a little bit of relief. And right at the end, Václav Hladký with that crucial save to do enough to deny Dan Neil has preserved a very notable 3 points. A terrific start to Championship life for them. They have won here at the Stadium of Light. They have beaten Sunderland by 2-1.
Well, he gives his goalkeeper a huge hug, doesn't he, Kieran McKenna? Kept him in it right at the death. Václav Hladký with a key save to ensure all 3 points go to the Tractor Boys for that very, very long journey home down the east side of the country. Ipswich soaked up a lot of pressure. They used to dominating possession and passes and attempts as they romped away from League One at the end of last season. But it's going to be a different kettle of fish in the Championship. They've passed this test, though, with flying colours. Chris Iwalabo, Kevin Phillips alongside me here in the studio. And an impressive template, perhaps, Chris, for the way they're going to play away from home.
Yeah, I thought they were excellent. I think they weathered that storm first half and grew into the game, and still created probably the better chances. Second half, even though you thought Sunderland were going to come out on the front foot, they controlled the game, showed real quality. That attacking threat, it's always going to be there. You know, I think he has that option that they can sit in, they can weather the storm with the pace and the quality they've got on their side, back to front. They can definitely get into the attacking area and create chances. They'll be delighted with it. I've got to say, towards probably the last 15-20 minutes, panic stations, that's where they've got to be a little bit more composed, carry on doing what they're doing, playing out from the back, making it very hard for Sunderland, especially with that extra man as well. But it's all about the result, and they'll be delighted with the team as a collector's performance.
It'll be a case of that, perhaps, Kev, won't it, over the course of the season, soaking up that pressure, not having things all their own way. Will that bring out an extra dimension for Kieran's side, do you feel?
Yeah, I think it's a learning curve, isn't it? You know, they're probably going to come up against it again this season, playing against 10 men, because they're a good footballing side and they will frustrate people, and teams will get frustrated and challenges will happen, so they'll probably come up against it. It's a great learning curve. You know, I think when the fixtures come out, when you're newly promoted out of League One to the Championship and you're going to the Stadium of Light, you're going there thinking, right, we'll take a point today. But I'm telling you now, they would have gone there with a belief that they could get a result there today, and the belief, you've seen that today. I think Tony Mowbray from Sunderland would be disappointed the way Sunderland started the second half. I thought Ipswich started. I'd love to know what Kieran said at half-time, because they come out on the front foot. They dominated most of the second half when they had, when they had the ball. But Sunderland, when they went down to 10 men, Sunderland, that's when they started to play. That's when they started to get on the ball. That's when they started to give more pressure to Ipswich. So they'll be bitterly disappointed to have lost that home game. But all the credit goes to Ipswich. Newly promoted. To go there and win, that will give them so much confidence now going through to the rest of the season. And what you said to me before, Prutz, they'll be made one of the favourites. On the evidence today, I can see why. They've got a bit of everything, and today's a huge learning curve for them.
Okay, the Sunderland players just applauding the home fans that turned out as ever in their numbers. Disappointment for Joe Bellingham and the rest of his teammates as they failed to record a win on the opening day. Scan this QR code for all the highlights of all the goals from the opening weekend of the 2023-24 Sky Bet Championship season. Plenty of stand-up performances and results. Saints getting off to a winning start on Friday night. We saw Blackburn win as well. Norwich up and running under David Wagner. Valerian Ismail with a 4-0 win for Watford against QPR, and plenty of goals throughout our triple header today. Get excited, Watford, you're top. Stoke is second. There's only 45 games to go. Plymouth, Southampton, Blackburn and Norwich making up the top 6 It's very much a table, of course, in its infancy after just one game of the league season. Plenty of time to right the wrongs of being in the bottom three. Huddersfield, Rotherham and QPR. The Championship has returned this weekend. Next weekend, the greatest show on earth, the Premier League, is back. Burnley romped the Championship title last season, their reward on the opening day. The champions at Turf Moor, Man City. And Pep Guardiola gets to see Vincent Kompany once again. 6:30 coverage begins of that. Saturday night football, Newcastle take on Aston Villa at 5 p.m. The first game of the first Super Sunday is London derby. Brentford taking on Tottenham. The second game is Chelsea against Liverpool before your first Monday night football of the season at Old Trafford. Man United against Wolves. All of that on Sky Sports Premier League. And speaking of Burnley, follow the dramatic story of the rebirth of one of England's oldest clubs, Burnley FC, under Vincent Kompany. Catch the 4-part docu-series Mission to Burnley on Sky Documentaries this Thursday. Plenty for these two goal scorers to talk about here in the studio. Chris and Kev with us to the end of the show to give us their thoughts on what they've seen from the Tractor Boys up in the North East, heading on with all 3 points. Now the Broadhead with the first. George Hurst with what turned out to be the winner.
The greatest show on earth is back in town, and there's something for everyone. We've got amazing magicians, extraordinary escape artists, gravity-defying acrobats, it defies description, audacious jugglers, and even
absolute freak.
There's something for everyone in the greatest show on earth.
And it's time for the show to begin.
The one and only Premier League is back, live on Sky Sports.